I want to be honest with you. I thought taking on the task of explaining why you need to follow up would be incredibly easy, and it turns out that it's a little more difficult for me than I thought, because I'm just programmed in a way that, if you follow up, you want the business. If you don't follow up, you don't want the business. And that's plain and simple. But honestly, that might come from years and years of managers telling me, hey, if you don't follow up, we'll find someone who does. And that's not the way I want to explain it to you. So naturally, I type in the Google machine, sales statistics on following up, and I find this awesome meme that has tons of statistics that can be summed up by saying that 10% of all salespeople have their hand in about 80% of the business because 90% of the salespeople don't do enough following up. So they're just scrapping around with 20% of business. At this moment, it's love at first sight between me and this meme. This is exactly what I wanted. So of course, I wanted to dive more into the source, which is the National Sales Executive Association, to learn more about the study size, when it was taken, what industry, what type of sales was it, and learn more to see if it was relevant to you. And after diving in, it seems like the National Sales Executive Association doesn't exist anymore, and they may have never existed. If they did exist, it was probably before the internet. So all this information is kind of irrelevant, right? And learning that information was enough to stop me from moving forward. So it was back to the drawing board. But I was very surprised to see that there is so much material out there on the internet that relate to these statistics. It didn't stop everyone. In fact, there's publications that reference this stat. There's tons of YouTube videos, tons of blogs, and they're using this statistic that may not be relative to their audience. And some of the people don't even reference the original source for this information, and some actually take credit for this research, which I find crazy. I can't really get too upset for anybody for using these stats, however, because I think behind it is positive intentions. They all want to do the same thing that I'm trying to do, which is inspire and motivate you to follow up. Now, personally, I still cannot use this meme because even if it wasn't a JPEG packed with lies, after further looking into it, it talks about other salespeople way too much. So it's basically saying that the reason you should follow up is because it will set you apart from your competition. And I don't think that's why you should follow up at all. The reason you should be following up is because it's a good investment of your time when it comes to winning clients for your business. And I'm going to show you why that is using action figures that I have in my attic. Let's go get them. Alright, let's get this party started by talking about how following up with your prospects will save you time in the long run. Theoretically speaking, you reach out to 60 people within a week. Now for each person, you need to take the time to research if they fit the persona of someone within your target audience. If they do, then at minimum, you want to find their name, first and last if possible, business name, title, email, phone number, and a few tidbits of information that can help you spark a conversation. Think about achievements, shared interests, or cool things that they have done. All that is entered into a CRM for safekeeping. Let's say on average it takes you about 5 minutes to do that per person. On top of that, you need to send them an email. Assuming you already created a template that you can customize, it should only take you about 2 minutes. So in total, you spend 420 minutes within your efforts. This equates to 7 hours spent reaching out to people. We are going to assume that you are a top dog email sender and you're getting a response rate of 35%, which means 21 individuals responded to your email. Now, out of those, roughly 1/4 of them agreed to have a conversation with no further convincing needed. Let's round that down to about 5 individuals. Out of those 5 individuals, 2 are not convinced right away, while 3 turn into a real opportunity. You spent 7 hours to get 3 opportunities, which means you win 1 opportunity for every 2 hours and 20 minutes you prospect. Now let's say the next week you decide to reach out to 60 people again, but instead of making them all new, you decide to connect with the 39 people who never responded to your first email. For those people, you don't need to spend the 5 minutes researching because you already did that. You can get right into reaching out. The process of reaching out takes about 2 minutes per person, totaling in 78 minutes. Now, the additional 21 people will need the full 7 minutes of research and reaching out. This equates to 147 minutes. The two totaled up results in 225 minutes of prospecting. Now, pretending that you get the same results as the week before, you will end up getting 3 opportunities within 3 hours and 45 minutes of prospecting, or 1 opportunity for every 1 hour and 15 minutes. In this theoretical scenario, you will save 1 hour and 5 minutes just from cycling through your existing contacts. Now, this doesn't even include the individuals who responded but didn't want to have a conversation for whatever reason, or those 2 that just didn't turn into an opportunity, and that's a creepy sight. The reality is that the most time you will spend on a prospect before actually connecting with them is when you research who they are. You should make the most of that initial investment and not give up right away. Next, let's move on to the world of your prospect. Every day there are tons of emails, phone calls, web browsers, video game flash sales. Well, you get the point. Competing for your prospect's time, each holding a different level of importance. Big ships represent priority number ones, like managers asking for something, customers ready to buy, or Pearl Jam tickets that sell out if they don't get purchased within 2 minutes after they go up. After that, there are different categories of importance that dwindle into less and less of a priority until we get to you. You are amongst all the clutter that has yet to become important. Every day, these different correspondences, tasks, life events, and so forth fling themselves into view, and your prospect quickly chooses what to address based on level of personal importance. Now, if you're someone who isn't even known yet by your prospect, how can you expect them to choose to address you when you're up against all these other priorities? So you need to be consistent to become recognized. Now answer me this. There was one figure that showed up more consistently than the others. Did you notice which figure that was? If you did, then you will understand that following up is your only hope. I hope that joke landed. You'll have to let me know in the comments. Anyway, this last demonstration is simple, but it will drive things home, I promise. Every time you reach out to someone, you are inviting them on a journey to eventually work with you. You may be giving them opportunities to learn some amazing information and make awesome transformations for their life and business, but you need to understand that this journey is a lot to ask someone to go on. First, you're asking them to stop moving forward in their day and lend their attention to you. Then they need to set aside time to have conversations with you and embrace a change in how they currently do something. Once they are convinced, they may need to take the time to convince others. Then they need to fill out paperwork involved, such as contracts and questionnaires. You're also asking them to be involved in every step of your process to get the best outcome. And on top of all this, you're asking them to pay for it. Here's the bottom line. If you expect someone to invest all that time, all those resources, all that money into what you can provide based on an initial investment of your time of 7 minutes to send one email, then you don't deserve to have that business. It all goes back to this. Following up does not set you apart from everyone. It just puts you in a category of someone who wants the business. And again, you either want the business or you don't. You follow up or you don't follow up. So it's not about differentiating yourself from other people. It's just putting yourself in the category of someone who wants that business. Now, within that category, though, you can differentiate yourself. And it's not the act of following up that's going to do it. It's how you follow up. And that is a topic we will save for another time. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when I come out with another video, because next time we chat, I'll be talking about how to follow up. Till then, have a good one and, well, follow up.